What's going on, and welcome back to another episode of Hair Mistakes That Age You Faster. Try not to die there, would be good. If you are new to the channel or new to the series, my name is Justin Hickox, and in this video I'm going to walk you through some hair mistakes that are aging you faster. And the way that I do this, I love this series specifically, is I'll actually take a photo of somebody that I found online and I'll walk you through the actual mistakes that they're making with their hair right now that, as I said, are aging them. And more importantly, not only am I going to walk you through these mistakes, I'm going to show you different photos of different options for hairstyles that they could have that will kind of address those concerns or mistakes and, yes, add a little bit more youth to it. Now, let me back this up, first of all, by saying that when I'm talking about youth, I'm not talking about looking super young. I'm not trying to say that we need to not embrace our age and that we need to look like we're 15. I'm merely saying that we want to look our best for whatever age we are. And that's what this is all about. All right. Now, if you're new to me, you might be thinking, well, who is this guy and why am I listening to a guy talk about hair out in the middle of the woods? I would say, that's a fair question. My name is Justin Hickox. I've been doing hair for 26 years, and to be completely honest, I prefer being out in nature and sharing these tips with you out here with the backdrop of some beautiful views versus sitting in my salon with a ring light. Just how it goes, so that's what I do. Now, with all that said, why don't we talk about some mistakes? Sound like a plan? Okay, let's get to it. The first mistake that I'm seeing is she's wearing it all back off her face and not really utilizing any of the shape to help accentuate a little bit of fullness in her face. The over kind of laying idea about looking more youthful is having just a more youthful haircut, right? So a younger, more trendy cut. And that's not necessarily true. So to me, it's more about accentuating things about our face shape that we want to accentuate. But I think it's also a matter of mixing in a couple things that kind of happen as we age naturally and kind of addressing those. So for instance, obviously as we age, well, nature takes a hold of us, and what happens with that? Hashtag gravity. Yes, so we want to lift things back up, and this is why, if you've ever watched any of my other videos, if you're not new to me, you've seen me talk about lifting the eye up. Now that doesn't just mean lifting your eye up, it means lifting the eye of the person that's looking at you up, drawing their attention up versus drawing their attention down. So I think when we mix all those things together, that's when we're doing ourselves the most favors. Now, in this particular model, she's a beautiful woman. Her face is definitely a bit on the longer side, and she has a bit of a longer forehead. But if you notice, all of these photos are showing that she's wearing her hair back off of her face. Since her face is a bit longer, we want to make sure that it isn't overly elongated. And with her hair being back off of her face like this, it does have a tendency to accentuate more length because there's nothing that's offsetting that length. Now, I'm a big fan of wearing your hair back off your face, and I don't think that that's wrong for everybody. But in this specific situation, she has beautiful eyes and great cheekbones, but she's not doing anything to accentuate any of that. Wearing her hair back off her face is actually drawing your eye down and kind of taking away from those attributes. Now, the second mistake kind of piggybacks on that, not utilizing her hair to actually accentuate any of the great features of her face. If you've got certain attributes about your face that really stand out and you accentuate those attributes, you're going to have a tendency to look a bit more vibrant, and that vibrancy can translate to the feeling of looking more youthful because it's going to be accentuating things about your face that you love, which will inherently create a bit more confidence or add to the confidence. Confidence is a very good way to feel more youthful and to look more youthful. That's a whole nother topic. But you get my point. So that's the second mistake. Okay, now the third mistake is not having any real hair to emphasize her jawline. She's not actually utilizing any hair to come forward and accentuate more of a jaw structure. And that is really kind of drawing things down. It's not accentuating any stronger of a jawline that will help to kind of lift things up. This may be hard to visualize, but don't worry. When we get to the photos, I think you're going to see what I'm talking about a lot more dramatically and very specific. But having a little bit of hair actually coming in and framing her face will help to offset some of that elongation. So yes, that alone is going to make a huge difference. And the last big mistake that I'm seeing is the fact that she's getting so much volume up on top. Now, when we actually create a style, which again, you'll see here in just a second, that works more with her face shape, you're gonna notice that she actually comes across looking much more youthful. So with all that said, why don't we go over here, I'll show you something else that's pretty cool, and we'll show you some ideas. We're going to talk about some style options for her, as well as, like I said, we're talking about color, and that one is going to shock you. So you're not going to want to miss that. Okay, let's get moving. Okay, before I jump into these options, I want to just kind of reiterate this. I do this in every episode. These are not the only options that she has that would look great on her. These are some of the options that I believe would look great on her. A couple of ideas. So what I want you to do with this is take from it what you will. Take the ideas, kind of get an idea of why I chose these particular shapes, and then use those ideas to determine what shape is going to work best for you with these tips. Does that all make sense? All right, now let's talk about the first option. Now, what I love about this shape for her is, one, the soft bangs. Now, she's been bringing her hair back off her face, or at least as well as I can see, this is what she does. It looks to be as though this is what she's most comfortable with. So introducing her to a really super thick or strong bang may be a bit much, and I don't necessarily think that that is necessary. But just a little bit of softness, if you notice, helps to soften her forehead a bit and offset the length in her face. Creates a little bit more width, not too much, but just enough. Still allows you to see her forehead, and more importantly, if she were to take this back and pull it back off of her face, like she does, it'll give it some softness and a little bit of a point of interest that would break around the cheek structure to accentuate those amazing cheeks a little bit more. Now, if you also notice, there's some layering right around her chin. Now, this cups in. This doubles back to what I was talking about earlier in the mistakes. Do you see how much of a difference this makes in accentuating jaw structure? That helps to lift the eye up. It helps to create a little bit more angularity in her face and creates a bit more of a youthful feel. Are you seeing that? Tell me you're seeing that, right? Okay. In this shape, we're going a little bit shorter and we're adding in some wave just for a little bit more softness. But we've also gone a bit more dramatic with the bang. You can still see her forehead through it, but they offer a bit more coverage of her forehead and help to soften it even a little bit more. Now, one of my favorite parts of this is the bang, actually, and the reason for that is because she has these beautiful eyes. Well, with these eyes, one of the fastest ways to draw more emphasis to them is to have bangs, draw an actual emphasis to them. Literally, bangs basically point at your eyes. And I do like the waviness to it. However, my only concern with this particular shape is that it requires a handful of maintenance to it. On a day-to-day basis, it's going to require a bit more maintenance, as well as just on an upkeep month-to-month basis, it's going to require a bit more maintenance than long, because to keep it in this shape, you're going to need to get it trimmed a little bit more often. So that may or may not play an influence on it, but nonetheless, as an idea for hair mistakes that age you faster and kind of working against those mistakes in this particular situation, this is a great option. Okay, I said we're going to talk about color, so let's do that. And I'm going to do that while we're right here because, well, duh. If you know me, you know that view doesn't suck. And it doesn't. Sorry, but it doesn't. So I'm going to hang out here a little bit longer. Alrighty, with that said, color. Well, cat's out of the bag on this one. Clearly, this photo shows her a little bit darker. So I want you to listen to something. Please listen so closely. I hear this all the time. As we age, we need to go lighter with our color because hair that's too dark is just too harsh and it has a tendency to age us. And I will be the first to say that I absolutely disagree with that mindset. If your color is too dark for your skin tone, that is going to be harsh, regardless of age. Just is what it is. And in some cases, too light a hair can actually be too harsh. So just going lighter because we're aging doesn't necessarily inherently mean that you're going to create some sort of youthful feel because you went lighter. It just means you're going lighter, and that may be problematic for you. And I believe that this is the perfect example. Now, I'm going to throw two photos up here on the screen so that you can see variations of darkness, and you can make your own decision on which one you like the most, but I'll be the first one to say that I like them both. I don't even think that the super dark version is too dark for her. I definitely think it's dark. I definitely think it's dramatic, but that doesn't mean that it's too dark, and I don't necessarily think that it's aging her. Now, I probably lend myself more to the lighter version of the two, but that's because I like the dimension, and I think that it's a nice color on her skin tone. I think it adds a lot of richness to her face, which helps us to look more youthful. If things are too dark or too light for our skin tone, they're going to have a tendency to be, like we said before, too harsh, and that means it's going to draw some of the color from our skin, and that'll have a tendency to age us faster. So actually keeping some of that richness and depth and warmth in our skin tone is what we're after. That's the key. It's not going light or going dark. It's creating that vibrancy in our skin tone. Huh? Comment below, let me know. I'm really curious as to see who's going to go all in on the dark on this one, because that's dramatic. But like I said, I actually like them both. We talked about cut, we talked about color, all of the things. So I'm curious, which is your favorite? Do you like any of them? You hate them all? You're okay, you're entitled to your opinion. That's fine. We'll just disagree on it and you're wrong, but that's okay. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. But nonetheless, I do want to know your opinion. I am very curious. So comment below, let me know. Otherwise, go check this out right now so that you don't miss the next amazing installment of Hair Mistakes That Age You Faster. And yes, you'll probably learn some stuff too. And it'll be fun. And you support the channel and all that stuff. And make sure you're subscribed. Okay, make sure you're subscribed. We'll see you later. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Take care now. Bye.